Good evening, everyone. Once again, you're welcome to the ITHEN DevOps Bootcamp, and this is the first module of the first set, 3 months of training. And this module is for Linux system administration. I want to welcome everyone. As a way of introduction, my name is Obafemi Adegoke, and I'll be your facilitator for this first 3 modules. I'm looking forward to an interesting session with every one of us here. So before we continue, I also like to get to know us one by one. Name, your current discipline, but that is optional. If you do intend, if you are not liberal to share, please just keep. But importantly, I need us to tell us what you are expecting from this training, what your expectations are. And if possible, please let us know as well if you have any prior computer science experience or not. Irrespective, I am prepared for a hybrid class, all right? But then it's important that I also know so that it will guide my choice of words if I would need to go deeper in explanation, or I can just assume we already know some things. I'm thinking it's going to be a few a small class so we can afford to accommodate everybody. At least if we are less than 10, we can afford to allow at any point in time everyone share their screen and we interact together, and then we'll make the life as participatory as possible. So I'd like to begin with the first person that joined the class. Please, your name, your discipline, although it is optional, but your background. Do you have a computer science background or not? And what your expectations are? Let's go, please.
Yes, my name is Quincy Lindsay. I don't have a computer background. I know a little bit about computer, but I don't have a computer science background. Uh, and I'm an educator. Teach school. Uh, and I'm expecting to learn from the program to be able to get certified and get a job right after a decent paying job. Uh, I looked at some of the salaries showing off. However, they look well. I'm trying to remember, what else did you say? I think, did I cover everything?
Yes, you have.
Yeah, to be able to pretty much learn from the projects that we're learning all the way through, and take the AWS certification, pass that, and while I'm find that job with that, continue to go on while I'm hired doing that, and go ahead and retire from teaching because I've been doing education since '99, and and while I'm doing the AWS at the same time, go ahead and be taking the once I find a job at AWS, start taking the DevOps classes from you.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Lindsay. You're welcome. So you're in the right place. This is where you need to get the prerequisite knowledge, foundational skills to get into cloud computing, either it is with AWS or any of the other cloud platform. But we'll solely focus on the pace setter of cloud computing, which is AWS. I mean, there are other cloud computing platforms, Azure, Oracle Cloud, Google Cloud, but after this first module, the second module is going to be focusing more on AWS. So I believe you're in the right place. Mr. Dini, you came in next. Do you want to share with us a little about yourself?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. And the instructor, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Um,
my name has been said. Adeni is my first name. My last name, Odebode. Of course, I'm from Africa, Nigeria, and currently I'm an educator. All my life, I've been in the health sector. I actually trained as a dentist, and coming to the United States, having to integrate, became a challenge. It takes a lot. And of course, what is most important is for life to go on whichever direction. And looking at the fact that the direction in which the world is going, I think going into the IT world may be the real deal. So of course I chose to, and I decided to go into the computer world. Of course, on the fact that probably do I have any background knowledge, the answer to that is no. Absolutely no. In fact, I was, dreadful thinking about, will I be able to get anything coming in here? I remember I had a chat with the instructor at the time. So because I am, terrified or fearful, but I'm hoping, having to look at, one of his introductory class, I believe I should be able to, navigate through conveniently. So my expectation, yes, trying to change career per se. And of course, if I'm able to get it right, I hope that in the future, beyond all of the modules, on this training, I remember the instructor in that introductory class I listened to, going into far, far more higher areas in the IT world is my desire. So I'm hoping that this one would, be like a platform or a foundational knowledge for me to be able to, integrate myself properly into the computer world. I think that's my home plight for now. Thank you for listening to me.
You're welcome. Yes, you are in the right place. Like I said earlier, this is the place to get the prerequisite knowledge, even foundational knowledge for those who are coming into the IT space and new. However, I should intimate us that it is always a concerted effort. We come to class and we give you word class training, but because it is a hands-on training, it requires that you also go back and then practice what you've learned in class. Do it by yourself repeatedly until you are able to build that confidence. Okay, this that I've learned, I'm able to do it. Maybe at first looking at your notes or having to refer to the class video, and again in subsequent times, you are now able to do it yourself, all right? And I hope that the passion that brought you here would continue in the upward trajectory, because from many years of tutoring, consulting, and training, people come in with so much passion and all of that. And along the line, you see that energy level drop, okay? While you see others, the energy level keep increasing and you wonder what drives them on. So over the year, my conclusion is hunger level is different, yeah? You have people that they want to see it through, and we have others that just want to, okay, let's have it for a second plan, a standby plan, right? But tech is more than a standby plan. It's just like, especially for those who are coming into the space newly, it's like you want to come and learn a different language entirely. It requires devotion. It requires determination and requires you to be tenacious. All right, so if you are willing to put your back into it, yes, it is rewarding and it does not discriminate irrespective of your background, as long as you're able to get a very good person or a very good place to hold your hand and show you the way through. IT does not discriminate. Okay. all it requires is you. If you're ready for it, then it is ready for you as well. Thank you, Mr. Adeni. All right, I think I'm not sure who came in between. Okay, I think Arizona came in before Erickson. So, Arizona, what we are doing is a brief introduction, your name, your current discipline, if you're willing to share, otherwise you can skip. Then your background, especially if you have a background in computer science or not, and then your expectation from this course. Can you hear me, Arizona?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
All right,
Yeah.
please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Arizona. I'm an IT auditor, but currently, right now, I'm in between jobs, and I've been in IT for a long time. Audit, and I also tried Linux a little bit a few years ago, but it didn't work out, so I just switched to IT audit. But right now, I'm trying to switch back, to DevOps, which is why this course is very important to me. I believe it's an opportunity for me to really get my hands dirty and get my hands more practical in the DevOps space. And I hope that by the end of this class, I'll be able to do a lot of things to be called a DevOps administrator or a DevOps engineer. That is my expectation, and I know I'll be able to put in the work and be able to achieve that. Yep. Thank you very much. Nice meeting you all.
Thank you, Mr. Arizona. You are welcome. Yeah. So the training is leading to DevOps. However, there are desirable stops along the line. By the end of the 3 months, by the end of the 3rd month, I expect us to have prepared our CVs and at least be applying for cloud administrative roles while we are getting ready to go into DevOps training properly. So this foundational class, Linux server administration, and then the 2nd month, which is for cloud computing in AWS, and the 3rd month, which is infrastructure as code using Terraform and then Python with AI. At the end of these first 3 months, we should be bold enough to apply for cloud administrative roles, right? But then, like I said earlier, it will also be dependent on how well you have been serious with the training, how well you've built your confidence, and what can build your confidence is how sure you are that you've learned. How do you measure your learning is by practicing a lot. You build your labs, you do repetitive practicing, you attend to the assignments we're going to be rolling out in class, okay? You don't shy away from a project when we are running one, okay? So you're welcome. I think I have the last person, Erickson. Erickson, can you hear me?
Hello. Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, you're welcome.
Sorry, my name is Diane. I had to use my husband's Zoom because my laptop is
Oh,
a bit
alright.
low right now. Yeah, I'm sorry for coming in late, first of all. So my name is Diane Matungulu. I'm Congolese, but I grew up in Nigeria. I moved from Nigeria to Las Vegas. Um, I didn't have a IT background, but right now I think I have like I can say I know something like I know a little bit about I know about computer cloud computing, but I learned it on my own. So I'm trying to, I joined this class to get a better view, to know it better, to be more confident and all. That's basically it. There's nothing much to say.
All right, you're welcome, Mrs. Diane. Good to
Thank you.
have you here.
Thank you.
Okay, so for those that joined before, those that joined after I have introduced myself, my name is Obafemi. I'll be our facilitator for these first 3 modules, and I wear a lot of caps. I am a cloud administrator, a server administrator for the past 7 years, and then as a DevOps engineer for about 3 going to 4 years now. Okay. I'm also a production engineer with one of the international oil companies here in Nigeria. I enjoy teaching. I also enjoy traveling. If I'm not on field and if I'm not in class like this teaching, I'll probably be flying to a destination in the world. So across the world rather. So yeah, I hope to have an interesting session with every one of us here. And I hope within these 3 months, we'll be able to form a good relationship that will get to know each other or one another better than this. So before we jump into Linux, I think it's important that we establish some fundamental rules that are going to help us during this training. The first one will be that it is important. All classes are going to be recorded. That's the first thing. And so to ensure we have smooth session, I would want to encourage everyone during classes to please mute themselves. All right. What that will help us to do is so that when we play back the class video, there will not be background noises or interferences. But there is an exception to the first rule, and that exception is at any point in time during the class, when you are unclear about anything at all, please unmute yourself and then ask your question. Ensure you get clarified about whatever it is you want to know. Okay, so even though I've encouraged us to always remain muted during teaching, when you need to ask question at any point in time at all, okay, I discourage us from using the hand raise up feature of Zoom. I may not pick it if I'm sharing my screen because I auto hide my Zoom dashboard when I'm sharing my screen, so I may not see it. Okay, so I seriously admonish us to please unmute yourself, cut in, and ask your question. And once you get clarification, you can then mute back. That's the first one. All right. So for those who would like to put a face to the voice in case we see in any of the airport at any time soon, I'm going to be already put up my video so you can see me. And probably this is going to be the last time, right? So I do encourage that we would not need to put up the class, our cams when we are in class, so that it helps us to reduce the size of the recording. Okay, we are going to upload all classes on YouTube and share the link with us. So to also help us reduce the size of the recording, I also encourage that all participants, including myself, put down their webcam. Okay, so I'm doing this so that you would not think it is an unidentified flying object, UFO coming to class. to teach. At least now everyone can see me, that I'm not an alien. I am flesh and blood like you. All right. The third one, which is also to ensure that we have smooth session, is that it's not really a rule, it's more like an encouragement, right? To help us optimize this training. The important thing is everybody gets what they want out of this training, and that is a solid knowledge of Linux system. Okay, so in this class, there will not be a stupid question, okay, and there will not be, oh, I thought you should have known that question, okay, and there will not be, okay, I think I'm the one dragging the class behind, let's just move ahead. So what I mean by that is, at any point in time, you have any question as regards to what we are learning, please ask your question. Never should anyone feel shy or feel it is stupid to ask this kind of question in this class. I have that mandate from Engineer Akin to ensure that every trainee at the end of the day will say, oh, I was in class and I understood everything that was taught. And you want to go back and watch the video, not because you didn't understand at the first time, but so it can consolidate what you understood during the class. All right. Is that taken? Did everyone copy that?
Yes, we do.
All right. So
Yes.
thank you for the feedback. Another thing I would like to confirm is if you can hear me clearly. Is my audio good?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you see my screen as well? What can you see at the moment?
Console home.
Okay, that's my
Oh,
AWS
I saw home.
console home. Okay. How's my pace? Do you think I'm speaking too fast or too slow?
You're speaking just right for me.
I
All
think it's
right.
okay. Yeah.
All right. So we are good to go. So before we dive into what we have today, it's just going to be more of a reconnaissance and introduction and telling us about uh, Linux generally. Does anybody have any question? Maybe you might want to ask about the class, or you might want to ask about the training generally. Do you have any question? I'm putting down my class video now, please.
Well, just one question, sir. This class for this month will be on a Wednesday, and what other day and time is it?
Mondays and Wednesdays, 6 to 9 p.m. CST.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, sir. All right, any other question, please? Okay, so I think we are good to go. So this first month of boot camp is going to be on Linux system administration. So there are different kinds of operating system. We have the three major ones. Do you want to tell me which one you know, which of the operating system you know? There is the popular one that there is the two popular ones that in fact practically everybody carry about on their computers. So do you want to tell us? Let's make it interactive. The operating systems that you know.
Yeah, I don't know about any one of them, so everything will be freshly new for me. And quick question: will we get a copy of this curriculum?
Oh yes, you will.
Okay.
Well, I do not have an idea before now, but on listening to a particular introductory lecture that I was sent to, that they sent to me, I think I know the one from Amazon, maybe it's AWS. We have the Google, and then the Windows operating system, I guess.
Yeah, so that sounds like cloud platform. The only one close to it is when you mentioned Windows. However, I get what you're trying to say. So, operating system tells us basically what package your device is, which type of package your device is running on. Okay, so are you using a MacBook? Is
With
anybody
Mac,
using a MacBook?
Mac, Windows, and
Exactly. So we have the common ones, Windows operating system, which is a very common. All right. We have the Mac OS, Mac operating system, which your MacBook runs on. Okay. If it is a computer, but if it is a mobile device like iPhone, then it is an iOS. Okay. But when you carry like Hewitt Packard, HP, Dell, Toshiba, most of those computers run on Windows operating system, Microsoft Windows operating system. All right. And we also have Linux operating system. It is from the kernel Unix. By kernel now, I mean the core, the main interior part of an operating system from where every other thing receives command or takes where every other surrounding or associated thing are controlled from. That's the kernel, Kernel, which is also called the core. All right. So the operating system we're going to be learning is the Linux operating system, right? And that's our first assignment in this class. I would like you to read about the Linux operating system, its advantage over Windows operating system and Mac operating system when it comes to enterprise network. Have we copied that? Our first assignment is going to be read about Linux operating system, its advantage over the Mac OS and Windows OS. Okay, especially when it comes to enterprise or corporate network. Okay, so if I tell you that Linux operating system is the most used enterprise operating system, by your own experience, you're likely going to say no, right? I'm unsure anyone here has ever seen a computer running on Linux operating system before. Most of the computers around you, even handheld devices, they're either running on Windows or Mac OS or iOS if it is mobile device, or Android. Android is also an operating system. Okay. Is at first it was it was established for mobile devices, but there are now Android computers as well, right? So, but for enterprise network, what an enterprise network is, we'll get to that shortly. I'm just giving us a general overview of Linux operating system. most of the enterprise networks, most of the top applications we know about, web servers, mobile devices, most of them are running Linux operating system. Oracle, name it. Banks, manufacturing companies, special enterprise applications, Ariba, SAP, top servers, their machines are running on Linux operating system. Okay, you will be amazed what you will find out from the assignments. So when I give us assignments, it's because I want us to dig deep into knowledge, and it's really going to help us, because this our 3 months together is going to focus solely on hands-on. I'm not going to come into class to be reading literature to us. So I'll pass to us the literature part in forms of material for us to read up, or for assignments for us to discover ourselves. And one good thing about assignment is, if you take your time to do it, you read about it, it will stick. All right. And that's where we'll begin to differentiate those who are really interested in getting into IT from those who are just wishing they could get into IT. So
Quick question.
go ahead, sir.
You say, I'm trying to get it right because I didn't get read about Linux operating system, the advantage over what?
Over Windows operating system and the Mac
Okay.
operating system.
Windows operating
Okay.
system and Mac operating. Gotcha. Okay, thanks.
You're welcome, sir. All right. So we are going to the next 4 weeks be looking at this introduction and Linux basics, user management, permissions, packages, networking, and other things. All right. And this is not to scare us. Actually, let us know that it's going to be an intensive training. All right. And I wish and I hope that your reason why for coming will be strong enough and stronger than all the intensity of what I'll be taking us through. At the end of the day, my desire, my goal is to ensure that we'll get the best out of the training. So these are what we're going to be focusing on in the next 4 weeks. And I'm going to share this to us so we can also monitor our progress as well. So let's talk about Linux. This I'm sharing with us here does not negate the assignment I gave to us. The first thing I'm going to ask us in our next class is going to be, let's discuss Linux. So it's an open source operating system. When you hear open source in IT, it means that no organization claims to be the owner. It is free for all. That's what open source means. You will not need any what's the word now? Activation key from anybody. Okay, and you can do what is legitimate with it, because it's an open source. It's not enough reason for you to become a Linux ninja tomorrow and then you begin to develop applications that would destroy the rest of the world with it. All right, so being an open source also means you should be responsible with it. So it was conceived and created as a hobby by this person, Linus, at the university, but at some point it was accepted as an operating system. It is divided into 3 parts. We have the hardware, the Linux kernel, and then we have the user space. So what's the hardware? This includes the hardware that the Linux operating system runs on, such as the memory, which we also call RAM, the central processing unit, which you may call motherboard or mainboard in some places, and disk, okay, the computer, the ones you can see and the ones you can touch. That is the hardware, all right? The Linux kernel is the central, which is the second component of the Linux machine. Linux kernel is the central component of the operating system that manages operations of computer and the hardware. All right. So look at the kernel sandwiched by applications and the hardware. So these are applications on your Linux computer, and it is the kernel that helps your application to translate whatever input is being given here to these hardwares. Okay, so some moments ago, I turned on my webcam and you were able to see me. It is the kernel that receives the input from my application. In this case, the application I am running is what? What's the application that I'm running here? Can you guess? The Zoom. All right. It was Zoom that I used my hardware device. Which of them? My webcam. So when I clicked on start video on my Zoom application, what helps my webcam, which is one of the hardware devices here, to start is because the kernel here translated this input from here into a command for the devices and turned it on. So if the kernel does not exist, then no application on your operating system can actually function properly. All right. And then we have the user space. This is where users like yourself will be directly interacting with the system. So when it comes to user space, there are basically two user spaces. We have the command line interface, CLI. Anybody heard of CLI before?
I haven't.
All right, let's interact. Anybody heard of CLI before?
Yes, I have.
All right. And then we also have the GUI, graphics user interface. So the user interface where you can click, you can drag, you can open, you can move, that's the GUI. And that's the one most people are native with, okay? But if I ask you to go run your PowerShell on your Windows PC or terminal on your Mac, your MacBook, what you do in that place is your mouse cannot click plenty things, cannot do anything actually. All you do there is you input a command, it gives you output based on the correctness of the command. So my PC is Windows enabled, so let me power on my PowerShell. Okay, so I can show you a typical command line interface. Either your PowerShell or your command prompt. Right? Can you see my PowerShell?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So what you do basically here is you enter commands. Okay. So there are commands that are specifically for Linux. A Linux operating system is predominantly a command line operating system. And that's one of the functions why it is one of the features why it is preferred over Windows and macOS when it comes to enterprise network, because it is light. You don't have to be clicking and clicking. With just one line of command, you get a lot of things done. Okay, so for Windows, if I say dir, it means list for me all the directories. If it were to be a Linux operating system, the command will be ls or switch l. Okay, so it does not understand that command because this is Windows. However, PowerShell also incorporates some Linux command now because Linux is sweeping everywhere. So with your PowerShell, you can run one or two Linux command as well. So if dir lists the directory for me, ls, which is list in short form, which is primarily a Linux command, is also doing that. So you will now realize that now Windows is now also enabling some Linux command on their input-output interface as well. So this is a Linux, this is a typical command line interface. Once you hear of CLI, just know that all that is done there is input-output. You input your command, it gives you output. If your command is correct, if it is not correct, it tells you. To clear my screen, here it is a CLS, clear screen, okay? If it is in Linux, it is a clear. And this is also doing the same as well because Windows now understand that Linux is an international language when it comes to technical IT roles, right? So let's get back to this. User space is where you interact with the system, either command line or GUI, graphics user interface. Okay, let's talk about Linux distributions, which is also shortened to be Linux distro. So Linux distribution is an operating system compiled from components developed by various open source projects and programmers. Each distro includes the Linux kernel, which is the core of the operating system, the GNU, shell utilities, the terminal interface and commands. The terminal interface is also referring to your shell prompt. When we get to the Linux command interface, I'll describe what the shell prompt is and the commands that we work on those on that terminal. The X server for a graphical desktop. So that I say that Linux is predominantly a command line interface or OS, it also have a desktop version as well. So there are computers that when you power them on, they actually run on Linux operating system. If time permits us, I will show you a virtual machine and I will install a Linux operating system on that virtual machine and you will see a typical Linux desktop. It looks just as a Windows desktop as well. All right. The desktop environment, a package manager system, and an installer and other services. So forget this plenty grammar. Take Linux distro as the different varieties of Linux. All right. Just as we have Windows, you see we have Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10, Windows XP, and all of that. So also in Linux, we have different distributions, okay? Now, the Linux operating system itself is an open source operating system. So what that means is anyone, you and I can pick the kernel as an open source project or as individual group of programmers will work on it, okay? and then we'll tweak it and add some 1 or 2 additional features. But it is still from the Linux kernel. So the commands that we work on general Linux operating system, we work on our own as well. However, we can decide to say that on our own version of Linux, which is technically called distribution of Linux, we have added this so and so and so features, okay? And maybe you need to do an update, or you need to put security, you fix security patches. This is where to go and get the updates and fix security patches for our own kind of Linux, the one that we have tweaked. Now, that's our own kind. We can decide to say that it is a closed source. We can decide to say, because we have picked the open source, we have done 1 or 2 tweaking on it, and it has these amazing features, okay? You will have to pay us before you can use our own version of Linux. No problem about that. If you are not interested, you also can also go and pick the open source Linux Unix kernel, tweak it as well, and use it for your own. There are open source projects that picked the Linux kernel, tweak it, and they are using it for their own in-house operation, and it is not available for commercial purpose. All right. And there are people like, there are projects, open source projects, organizations like Red Hat, like Debian, like Ubuntu, that they've put some awesome features on their own distribution of Linux, and they are selling the licenses to people to use. Okay. It still does not make Linux a closed source. It's just that their own version of the open source is closed. Okay. But nobody can wake up tomorrow and say they want to tweak Windows. It's not possible. You know, Windows is a closed source. Only Microsoft have the access. Okay. You go tweak Windows either for your own use, or you want to commercialize it. The next thing, they are coming at you. You be ready to go to court at any point in time. Okay, so not even when you have bought the license from Windows, you still cannot, especially except if you do it in-house. You've gotten the license from Windows, you tweak it to include 1 or 2 features, but that means it is only useful by you yourself. You cannot make that version you've tweaked available to the public for free or for sale. Okay, anything that must be done on Windows operating system is solely reserved to Microsoft. The same thing with Mac OS. These are closed source operating system, but Linux is an open source operating system. You become a Linux ninja tomorrow, you can pick these things and then you use it, you tweak it and make it work for you. Okay, as I'm speaking now, there are more than 600, not 300, 600 distributions of Linux. Okay, and I will at least encourage you to list at least 15 in the assignment that I've given us. Okay, so how many are we here in class? Okay, 4 of us. So if I were you, I will find 60, so that when I'm checking it off, I will not say, oh, this person have said this. You cannot say what has been said before. All right. So the distros of Linux refer to the different flavors of Linux. As many as they are, there are different packages that handles them. But we're going to deal with just 2 major packages. which is the Red Hat Package Manager, and the Debian Package Manager. Red Hat Package Manager and the Debian Package Manager. All right. So there are distros under the Red Hat Package Manager. And as you can see on your screen, we have the Red Hat itself, CentOS, which has been bought by Red Hat, is also a Linux distro under the Red Hat Package Manager. It is Fedora, please, not Fedora. Okay, Fedora, I think Fedora is now under its own package manager, which is DNF. Okay, so I will have to update this. Open source is under the Red Hat package manager. And their installer, in fact, before I send this to us, I'm going to correct a lot of things I'm seeing here. This should be package manager, and this should be package installer. All right. The installer for Red Hat Package Manager is Yum, while the installer for Debian Package Manager is apt or apt-get. So it means you want to do an installation, you want to do any updates on the distribution of Linux that is managed by Red Hat, then the keyword is Yum for their installer. You want to do any installation on a distribution of Linux under the Debian, say Ubuntu or Linux Mint, the installer keyword is apt or apt-get. Sorry, let me use my whiteboard. Can everyone see my whiteboard?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
So either apt, and you see it in other in some literatures as apt-get, apt or apt-get. So let's say I want to do an installation. So I want to install Apache 2 on a Linux distro that is managed by Debian. So it's going to be apt install Apache 2. Okay. But if it is a Linux distribution under the Red Hat package manager, it will now be yum install followed by name of package. If you want to install a package that is not available on any of the installer's repository, okay, let's say it is only available on the package parent repository, then we can use wget. Okay, wget followed by the URL address of the package want to install. So all of this we're going to be learning in the next 8 to 10 classes. All right. So before I go on, any questions, please?
Quick question. You said on the you said something about also for home. What was the second thing for homework? About the Linux distro. You said we're gonna need to find how many?
I mean, look for all the Linux distributions. It's still part of the first assignment where I ask us to read about Linux operating system.
Yeah, I got that one. It was you said
Right.
something about the list.
Linux distributions, the distros of Linux. There's no way you're going to read about Linux operating system and whatever literature you are looking at will not talk about Linux
Right.
distros. Yeah.
Oh, so you didn't say nothing about list 15, list somebody, you
Yeah,
said something
so
about list.
I'm saying at least no 15 Linux
Okay, got
distribution. I mean,
got
so that we are 5 in class, excluding me, that means 4 of us. So if you are to list your own first 16 when we are discussing in the next class, the
got you.
remaining 3 cannot list the 15 that the first person has listed. So I encourage you to at least know about 60 just to make it lively when we are discussing in our next class.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Do you want the assignment, write up, or you just feel we should just know it somewhere?
You might want to make it a write-up just for your own knowledge base. All right. So you see a wordy literature online, you save it in form of PDF, put it in your folder. Okay. So I'm not saying we should now go and begin to type things. No. I mean, you can combine the internet is wide. Okay, I call it your ever available neighbor. So always be ready to borrow from your neighbor. All right. Any other question? All right. So before we move on, I think it is important that we set up our workstations now. So before now, what we normally use is the Oracle VirtualBox. We use it to virtualize a Linux operating system. But since 2021, after COVID, the faculty lead now insists that since we are going to be working from cloud, let everybody get used to the cloud platform from the first day in class. So we are no longer using the Oracle VirtualBox. Okay, we now use the AWS platform. No Windows, please. Okay. However, for knowledge sake, I will show us probably in our last class when we are doing revision. Please remind me to show you the Oracle VirtualBox. Okay. It is not difficult to use and it's always a handy tool, especially for developers that would not need to be a mobile developer, not even mobile, anybody that does application testing. You need to test an application on a Linux operating system. You need to test it on Windows. You need to test it on Mac OS. Okay. And you don't want to, or for any reason, there's no internet connectivity. So you can virtualize this operating system on Amazon Web Service on the AWS platform, but then there must be internet connection. Okay. But if there are no internet connection and you need to virtualize, that is where applications like Oracle VirtualBox come handy. Right. So I think I may be able to show us at the end of on our last day of training in this module. Okay. But for now, any of our virtual servers we're going to be using is going to be from AWS platform. So the next thing we are doing right now is to show us how to set up our AWS platform for those who do not have it. Okay. Is there anyone in class who doesn't have AWS account? Not the Amazon where you buy things. I'm talking about AWS now. Amazon Web Service.
I used to have one before, but for a very long time I've not used it. So I don't think
Okay,
that's still
so
working though.
is the very long time, is it more than a year?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you need a new one with a new email. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, what do you mean by that? Having that, are you talking about Amazon application or something?
The Amazon Web Service is the platform, is the cloud platform we'll be using to learn Linux.
I do not have it.
Okay, so I just want to be sure if we have people who doesn't have it. So who is currently connected to this meeting from their computer? I would like to make you a co-host so you can share your screen, and then it's going to be my voice and your screen, and then we can show everybody how to create and have their own Amazon AWS account.
Yeah, I'm using a laptop.
Okay, so
I'm also using a laptop.
oh, beautiful. So I'm making Arizona a co-host. Do you want to share your screen, sir?
Yeah, sure.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead and share your screen now.
Yeah, I'm sharing it now.
Okay, so is everyone able to see his screen? I can see it from here.
Yes, I can see it.
All right, so you might also want to do this as we are doing it. Okay. So that also reminds me, when we are in class, when we get into hands-on proper, I will encourage us that so for you not to miss out, you may want to just look at the screen and make notes, and then you go back and practice. But if you have two devices, you can be watching on one and be practicing on another. But if you have only one device where you want to watch my screen and at the same time practice, meaning that your attention might be divided, or you split your screen, you're not able to see the command because it is tiny when you have splitted your screen. I encourage that when you come to class, you watch and then you learn, and you can go back and practice all the commands. I can see Arizona have a VirtualBox on his desktop. What do you use it for? Have you ever used it?
Yeah, I used to work on Linux
Oh,
some
okay.
years back. Yeah, I haven't have the PuTTY installed, and I'm able to SSH using the PuTTY to connect to different servers and build servers. It's been a long time. I've probably forgotten everything.
Interesting. Welcome back. Welcome back. We are
Yeah,
here
man.
to rejig the memory. I'm sure your residual memory will come back when you begin to see these things again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So let's go to any of your browser, and then anyone you're comfortable with, and let's search on Google AWS sign up. AWS sign up. Look at the first link, web service, sign up for a free AWS account. All right. So we normally take 10 minutes ergonomic break after the first half of the class. So once we spend 90 minutes, I think we've just spent 70 minutes or 72 minutes. Yeah. By the 90th minute, we'll take 10 minutes ergonomic break. You can stretch and then we'll come back after 10 minutes. Is everybody here? No, don't do anything yet. Let everybody be sure. For those who doesn't have an account with AWS, we are about to create one. Let me know if you are here. Mrs.
Yeah, I'm
Diane,
here.
are you
I'm
with
here.
us?
I have only one system, so I can't be doing it.
Yes, I'm here. I have an account.
Oh, beautiful. You have an account. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mr. Denny, we are going to indulge you this time because everybody needs to have an account. So,
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have an
and
account.
oh, you have an account too, Mr. Lindsay?
No, I don't. I don't have
All
one.
right,
But
so let's
I could go 2 different months. I got split screen like 2 months.
okay. So let's do it together now. If you're on the screen, you might want to split your screen. The Zoom screen, make it split the windows between your browser screen. Okay. Just for this class alone. Oh, thank you for helping us do that. All right, so this is what I'm saying you should do. One screen for your Zoom, the other one for... You might not be able to do that because you are sharing your screen,
Yeah.
Arizona, yeah? But for others, you should be able to at least put the screen, the Zoom screen one side of your desktop and then your browser. So if you are here, click on create free account. Please click on create free account. Now look at it down here in at the middle of your screen.
Okay, absolutely.
Yeah. Mrs. Diane, is your AWS account up to 1 year?
No, I have a new one.
Oh, beautiful. All right. So please put your email address here. Okay. And then your account name. Any name you want it to be. Just Arizona or Rookizona, whatever you want it to be. All right. And then click on verify email address. You'll be sent either a link or a code to do that. Okay, please type in this first. N2F6. Is that Q or G? Do you want to refresh that? I'm not sure. I think it's Q.
It looks like a G.
All right, let's go. If it is not, they will tell you. Verify email address, please. So please check your email.
Account already exists. Thank you.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, I think this is I use this email for that. I think I need to change the email.
Is that what he's to tell you on your
Yeah,
email?
account already exists. So
Oh,
I
that
thought
means
this,
you have to change. You have to use another
so
email.
yes, let me use my email. I'm waiting for the response
From them,
yeah, the verification code for this one. I'm waiting for it.
put in a new email.
Yeah, I put in a new email.
Okay. They should send
Usually,
you a verification. Do you want to refresh your email? Check the spam box.
Ah,
yeah, I'm
Let's see.
working. Yeah, I've seen
They sent it.
it. Yeah. Okay, let me verify.
Okay.
I should create the password.
Yes. Your password needs to fulfill all those conditions. Alphanumeric, one lowercase, and then a special character. I hope the rest of us are getting it as well. So you are using a known or a password that can be guessed. So
I'm not
use
getting it
something.
because I don't even know how to split the screen, in your eyes.
Okay, so just hold on. When we
Yeah.
are done, it will get to a point now where I will ask Mr. Arizona to stop sharing because we would not want to compromise his privacy. At that point, please get ready to share your screen. Mr. Lindsay, are you following? All right, so hold on. At this point, before you continue, click on personal, check personal for your own project. Okay, so please hold on. You put in all of this. Can you scroll down? Let me see something. When you're done, you check I've read and continue. The next thing to ask for is your credit card details. They're not going to be charging you. You have 12 months free tier with the instructions I'll be giving us in class. If you stick to instruction, you're not going to be charged. You can use the WS for free for 12 months if you stay within the free tier limit. But they will charge you $1 just to confirm uh, your credit or debit card is valid. And after your account has been created, they will refund the $1 they charge. Okay. I can assure you that AWS platform is very secured. So don't think your card is going to be compromised in any way. It will never be, not on the AWS platform. All right. So I wouldn't want you to share this because this class is being recorded. So share your screen now. When you pass the stage 3 and stage 4, where you have entered your address and your card details at stage 4, you can let us know, then you can share the screen back. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So Mr. Dini, you can share your screen now. Can you hear me, Mr. Dini?
Yeah.
So let's go to Google and type download it. Sorry, just go to your URL and type
Oh,
AWS
can you hear me?
sign up.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I have my name. I'm on step. The step one put my name in, telephone number, address, and there. I was doing it while he was showing it.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
I was trying to find where I could unmute my button or some kind of way I lost that screen. But I'm back now.
all right. So just put in your address, and when you're done, the next thing will be to put in your credit card details. All right. You temporarily be charged $1 just to confirm your card is valid and then to be refunded.
Okay.
All right. So AWS sign up, look at where you have create accounts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The fifth link. Yep. Create AWS account, top right corner. So put in your email address. Gmail, please. No, that's Gmail. All right, thank you. Okay, what name do you want your account to bear? Dr. Adeniyi or just Adeniyi or just you have any nickname or any alias? Any name at all, yeah. So check your email. Did you receive any? Can you hear me, sir?
I've not seen the email. I'm still waiting.
Do you want to refresh your email on your phone?
Refresh
On your
on my
phone, on your
on my
phone, your email on
okay.
your phone, your inbox, your
Okay.
inbox. Just refresh. It might drop.
It's not dropping. I'm refreshing.
Or check your spam box.
Okay. Okay, I get it on spam.
Okay, please put it in now.
So it says verify your email address. Okay. So the number.
So let's create password now.
This
8
one here.
characters, yes. 8 characters, alphanumeric, and ensure that the it is not an English word that you are using, please.
What do you mean
Do I
by
get
that's 1, 2, 3, right?
No, just create a password. Ensure your password is not an English word. Sorry, a dictionary word rather.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, do I get the basic support, developer support? Which one do I get the basic support on the selected support plan for AWS?
Which one is free? I think that basic.
Oh, that's for basic support. Yeah,
Yes, please.
that's the one I get, correct?
Yep.
Okay. All right, congratulations. Thank you for saying. What do I do after that?
Just stand by for next instruction. Or you can
Gotcha.
click on management console. If you see anything like console there,
So what do I click here now? I've put in password.
no, just don't
This one.
click. No, confirm the password. No,
Where
not
is it?
there. Yeah, look
Where's
at
the
it.
confirm?
Click outside of this space first.
Okay.
Okay, look at confirm root password. Repeat it.
Okay.
Yeah. Mr. Arizona, please give us updates.
Then confirm or continue.
Continue, yes.
Do I save? Should I
Oh,
save it?
you may want to save if it's
Okay.
you're comfortable. It's your computer and it's your
Mm.
it's not office PCs. It's your, so check on personal for your own projects.
Yeah.
Okay, so your full name, and then when you put in all your address here, click on next. You put in your debit or credit card details. You click on next. All right, then we can now come back to you, but I would not want you to do that now. because this class is being recorded, so to protect your privacy, please don't share your screen. But go ahead and continue with what you are doing. I just don't want you
Okay.
to do it while you're sharing your screen. Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Arizona, do you want to give us updates? Are you able to complete the setup?
Yes, I have gotten to the point where
Share your screen, please. Share your screen.
you would get okay.
Okay, so basic support, complete sign up. Yeah, that's it. Go to your management console. All is set. So I think we can take our 10 minutes ergonomic break now. When we come back, we'll continue.
Okay.
All
Okay,
right.
how long we taking a break?
10 minutes. 10
Okay.
minutes. Yeah. Is everyone set? Do you have your AWS account?
I'm still on changing my card details. Said it was wrong, so I'm changing it. So hold on for me, sir.
Okay, so while we are waiting, let me share. Okay, I think I'm going to do that via email. It's better than I share that with us via email. All right. Okay, I'm not sure if you're able to see my screen yet. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about the common terms you're going to be hearing while we are on this training. Network. So when we say network, it means two or more computers or devices. I think that's the appropriate word. Devices linked together so that they can share resources like printers, like fax machine, the computers in the floor one can be networked within that floor or between floor one and floor two of the same complex, or even a branch in Oklahoma and another branch in Las Vegas. All right, it's still network as long as they are connected together via the internet and they are sharing resources. There's a network. We are on a network right now, isn't it? We are connected via what? Zoom. So we are all on the Zoom server. And if we do not have internet on our respective devices, we are unable to connect. So when we say network, it means two or three, uh, two or more gadgets or devices have been linked together to share a common resource. Okay. So what's a server? Is a piece of computer hardware and software. Some literature says it is a software, while others says it is a hardware, but it is both. Without the software, then all you have is just a piece of metal of no use. But if you have a software, it has to be in a body, which is the hardware, for you to be able to access it. All right, even if it is online, like as we are doing with our AWS account, that is online, okay? By the time we begin to launch virtual servers, okay, those ones do not have hardware, but however, I should tell you that there is somewhere we call data centers, where the physical infrastructure that helps us to create those virtual ones are being what? Are being held, okay? So it's a piece of computer hardware and software that provides functionality for other programs or devices, which you call customer or clients, okay? The architecture is always the client to server model, okay? It can run continuously to provide services to other computers, all right? So we are all on the Zoom server now, and the service is providing to us is that we are able to join a meeting online, and we are able to hear each other. We can also put on our videos to see ourselves. So for those who have been in corporate offices, you must have heard of terms like the server room, the server room, the server room. The network is slow. They'll tell you go to call the guy in server room, let him or her restart, okay? Or there are even server administrators, okay, that man the server rooms. So typically, server room is where you have the computer that controls all other computers within the complex, within the office, okay? And if the server is not powered, your own laptop can be powered. It's just that it will not be able to connect to the network. So you cannot interact with other shared facilities or shared resources. Workstations traditionally used to be computers, but now your workstation can be anything from your phone to your pad to other gadgets, right? Local area network is a network that is confined to a relatively small area, okay? It is generally limited to a geographical area such as our homes or schools or building or small or branches of an organization. Okay, let's say HSBC branch in New York, or even in a particular district in New York. Okay. What they operate at the branch level is a local area network where there are about just 10 to 15 computers. Okay. But that will not pass for a regional branch of a bank that oversee other local branches. Okay, we'll see the name we give to those. So where you have just computers and switches to help those computers connect within the network, not internal, intra network. That's what we refer to as a local area network. I think I should use my whiteboard here for proper explanation. Okay, can I clear this? So you have this, and then you have this. You have to, I beg your pardon, please indulge my yam that I'm drawing, okay? I'll do well next time. So let's call this the server, right? And this is the one that manages other client computers. Okay, this is a client 1, a desktop, client 2, a laptop, client 3, a desktop, client 4, a fax machine. Okay, why don't we put a printer as well? right? So client 5. Okay, so local area network LAN because they are relatively small, maybe just between 10 to 15 gadgets connected together. Okay, so we always have something called switch. All right. If you have seen the server room before, then you see something that's always blinking all sort of lights. Okay, but most of these things are now virtualized now. So you connect your server to the switch. It is the switch that now helps you to, it is the switch that now helps the server to interact with other computers within the network. Okay. So this is a client to server model. The client is server to the switch. The switch distributes whatever the server wants to share with the rest of. Okay. So where do you have them within a network? This is a what? This is a local area network. So let's say this is the branch of a company. Okay. You can also have another network somewhere, another branch which is also local area network. You can also have another branch which is also a what? A local area network. So if this branch now wants to communicate with another branch, this is two networks want to communicate, then that's when you need to talk about devices such as router. So you configure router at the gateway, at the entrance of each network. So if any device needs to go out of this network, it passes through the gateway router to go and talk to other computer. Okay. Sometimes within the training, we'll talk about IP addresses, and then you will understand why there is need for a router if a device here needs to talk to a device here, because they are not on the same network IP. Okay. But all these devices here, they are all on the same network what? They are all on the same network path. So they will naturally communicate with one another. All right. But if there is a different network path, then that computer would not be, that device will not be able to communicate without the use of a router with other computers. So what the router does is it has what we call a route table on it, and it helps to translate network address. Okay. So an IP part here, different from an IP part here, they would not naturally see each other. But with the help of a router at the entrance of this network and another router at the entrance of this network, they can communicate. So switch helps networking within the network, while router helps communication or networking between two networks. Does it make sense? Does it make sense, please?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, it does.
All right. So if it is within the network, all the computers are assumed to be on the same network path. So they will communicate. What you need is just switch. What switch is doing is it's helping to distribute network from the server to others. So server can talk to C1, C1 can talk to server. C1 can also talk to C2. They have shared paths where they can communicate. But when it is a communication between two networks, okay, or between a network and another network, then you will need what we call a router. On a router is a route table. The route table is what helps to translate the address, network address translator, NAT. Okay, so that the IP address here can now communicate with the IP address here. All devices on the network have their own unique IP address. If I ask you to go to your terminal now, everybody go to your terminal if you're using macOS or if you're using Windows. Run your PowerShell. Okay, go to your Cortana search and then run PowerShell. Okay. Go to your search and type PowerShell, or you type CMD, anyone, either your command prompt or your PowerShell. Okay. And then I want you to run the command call if config.me. Call if config.me. Can you see my screen? Do it on what's it called now?
Sorry, can you start how we go about this, for those of us who are trying to struggle with it? You said we should go to PowerShell, or what do we go to?
If you want to search on your computer, go to where you normally search, that search pane, and type PowerShell. Can you see my screen? Do you see where my mouse is?
Yeah, I see it.
So click on that and then type PowerShell. That is where you'll be able to see PowerShell here. Just click on it. Should show you stuff like this. For those, is anybody using MacBook here? Anyone?
Yeah, I'm using Mac.
Okay, on your terminal, can you run this command? Call if config.me.
Oh, sorry, hold on a minute. Sorry.
For those if config, I'm trying to see the command for you to be able to see your if config on your IP address. What I'm trying to tell us now is every device has its own IP address assigned to it by the network provider on that computer. Yeah. Okay, I'm trying to get the command out. If it is Linux, call if config will show you the IP address of your server, yeah? Call if config.me. Okay, look at it here. Look at mine. 197.210.55.248. So why is it not giving me the same thing here? Call. Has anybody tried it?
Yeah, I have Windows. I tried the IP ad, it didn't come up.
What did it tell you? Did you run PowerShell? Did you try it on PowerShell?
Yeah, I'm on PowerShell.
Can you try on command prompt? Go back to where you search for PowerShell. This time around, type CMD for those running Windows. Command prompt.
CMD, gotcha. Okay,
Okay.
then add that out. All right.
So run call if config.me. Look at the command here. If you do not put the command properly, you won't get the right result.
So put curl if config.me for the IP address.
Yep.
Hold on. All right. Okay, I got it that time.
So that's what I'm trying to tell us, that every device has its own IP address. All right. So let's move on.
Okay, sorry, I've done it.
Did it show you your IP address?
Yes, it did. It showed me.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. All right. So what I was sharing with us is that every device has its own IP address. If we are on the same network path, we would not need any special configuration. We would naturally communicate among each other. Okay. But if I begin to ask us our IP addresses now, you'll be surprised we'll be hearing different numbers. Mine is 192 dot what did I see again? .210.55.248. Okay. So only those that are on my own network path will be able to communicate with me. All right. But I'm able to communicate with you now because there is a route table that helps me on my computer, already configured by my ISP, Internet Service Provider, that helps my network, my device to communicate with other devices on the internet. All right. So collection of many local area network is now what we call enterprise or corporate network. Okay. With an headquarters somewhere. So all the headquarter of Twitter or Facebook or Google, wherever the headquarter is, the network at that level is a corporate network. They are able to communicate with all their regional, district, local offices across the entire world. Okay, and it is at that top level that Linux server comes to play. Servers within the local network might be running on Windows, Solaris, but at the headquarters, most of their servers run on Linux. In fact, most of their web applications run on Linux operating system. And that is why Linux administration or Linux server is desirable over other operating system when it comes to what? Enterprise, or you call it corporate. Enterprise or corporate network. Any question before we move on? Okay, look at it here. The switch from the server to the printer to all of that. This is a small office, home office, which is also described your local area network. Okay. And this is a SOHO that also has wireless connection. From the switch, there is a cable going to the WAP, wireless access point. All right. And from this wireless access point, you can use wireless connection, Wi-Fi for other devices, still within the the local area network. You will see that this one's used cable, internet cable to connect laptop, computer, desktop, printer, fax machine. But then within that same network, we can have laptops that we connect via Wi-Fi. That means from the switch that takes power from the server machine, okay, connects to wireless router, or you call it modem now, not router. You call it modem, and then it broadcasts the network to wireless connections. Now look at this switch now. When it needs to go and talk to other devices outside of the network, the internet, okay, Can you see where they kept a router? So if the internet needs to come to this our connection here, it has to pass through the router, which is always at the gateway, internet gateway. The same thing here. The moment you are going outside of your own network connection, then you will need a router. Okay. We'll see more of this when we get into AWS and we begin to talk about VPC, Virtual Private Cloud. An enterprise network refers to either physical, virtual, or logical connectivity infrastructure that enables systems and applications to communicate, to share information, to run services and programs, to analyze system performance. I want us to read this. They are located in multiple locations in different continents, and it usually consists of what? 20,000 plus employees. Okay. In scope, an enterprise network may include local and wide area networks, depending on operational and what departmental requirements. So collection of many, look at a typical enterprise network, a branch here from home, a branch from home. Their collection within the same organization is what you refer to as what? An enterprise network. You see, think of enterprise network as the internet, except that it is local to your own organization. Network infrastructure. This refers to all the resources of a network that make networking or internet connection possible. All right. And there are three major components of network infrastructure: the hardware, the software, and the services. Hardwares are the ones you can touch and you can see, like your computer, your laptop, your handheld device, your iPad, okay, your ATM machine, your printer. Those are your computers. Routers. Talked about routers. Devices on the network that connects multiple networks together. You see that? So when multiple networks need to communicate, you need a router. But when you need a connection within a network, switches can be sort of network controllers. They connect devices such as computers, printers, servers on the network. It makes it possible for devices on the network, meaning that it's still within the network. But for routers, multiple network, as I've shown us. LAN card is a type of NIC network interface controller that is used to connect the computer to a network. LAN cards are typically built into your computer. Most of the times, they are soldered on the motherboard of your computer. So in offices where you see them use internet cable, they pick an RJ45 cable, they plug it into your computer. Where they are plugging it into within your computer, that's the LAN card. At times it gets bad. You call the maintenance guy, they pull out the LAN card, they fix another one. Either on your desktop or on your laptop. Okay, I know the people here are not Gen Z, so you know what I mean by internet cables, because most offices now they are all using wireless connections. Is there anybody who hasn't seen internet cable before? Anyone here? Especially those that used to be in African countries. In those days when you go to the cyber cafe, you go with your own PC. They give you a cable you plug into your laptop, and then you feel like a king because you have your own personalized system. So everyone has seen a LAN cable before. Good. So where you plug your LAN cable into your computer, it is actually a LAN card. Wireless access point, that is your modem, Ethernet cable now is also part of your hardware. Networking software. This is the second component of network infrastructure. Your operating system, the software that acts as an interface between computer, hardware, and the user. Common OS, Windows, iOS, Mac OS, Linux, Android. Okay. Firewall is always the security system that monitors and controls incoming and outgoing network traffic based on the predetermined rules. When we get into AWS, you will hear of security groups. They are basically AWS way of telling you the firewall around your server. All right. And the third network component, network infrastructure is services. IP address, wireless protocols, satellite. In those days of DSL and T-line cable. Anybody heard of T-line before? T1 line?
No, I haven't. First time hearing about it.
Okay. It used to be a communication transmission service, yeah? Twisted copper wires that helps us to transmit and receive data or voice traffic. But we've seen satellites before, large dishes, right? Many of them are now out of use, but if you look at the top building of some high risers, you will still see, instead of masts, you will see satellite dishes. Okay. Virtualization. This is the class where we do plenty talk, so bear with me. Okay, and I'm going to share this material with us so we can also immerse ourselves into it. And if you have any question, please always reach out on our WhatsApp group. Okay, so the AWS platform is actually a cloud computing platform. And what that means is everything we'll be doing on that platform is in the cloud. And by extension, what that means is we are virtualizing everything. Okay, so because your computer is not, you do not have a computer running on Linux operating system, and we want to learn how to manage Linux server. So we either go buy a computer that we can install Linux operating system on, or we virtualize one. So when you hear of virtualization, it's just the normal English word. It means that something that appears real, but it is not. You cannot touch it, you cannot feel it, but it is functional. You know it is working. So on the AWS platform, we're going to be launching EC2 servers. EC2 on AWS means Elastic Compute Cloud. When we get to AWS next month, I'll expatiate on that. All right. So we're going to be launching virtual servers, computers that will behave exactly the way it will behave if it were to be physically present in front of us. All right. So virtualization is the process of running a virtual instance of a computer system in a layer abstracted from the actual hardware. It is a technology that allows one to create many simulated environments or dedicated resources from a single physical hardware system. So from the computer in front of you, I can install a type 2 hypervisor on your operating system. And after I've successfully installed type 2 hypervisor on your operating system, I can, within that type 2 hypervisor, create many virtual computers, many virtual laptops based on the capacity of the physical host. So if you have a laptop that has a RAM of 16 gig, 1 terabyte, and it is Core i5, I can install a virtual Oracle VirtualBox, which is a type 2 hypervisor, on whichever operating system you are running on, either it is Windows or Mac OS. And within that type 2 hypervisor, I can create many other computers that will run on different operating systems. So if I have an application now that can only work on Mac OS and my computer is Windows OS, I can go and open my Oracle VirtualBox, create a new virtual computer, install Mac operating system on that virtual computer, and within that virtual computer, I can run the application that only runs on Mac OS. So rather than invest on buying another computer, on my same computer, I can run virtual instances of another computer. You can do that as well. Okay. But then it is resident in your computer. AWS now says we can take this to cloud such that you can have a virtual server in cloud. All you need is just to connect to the internet, log in into our AWS platform, access your server, install your applications on it, and anybody across anywhere in the world can access your application. So that way, it has saved us the cost of having to open a server room somewhere, purchase land, build the place, install gigantic servers, ask a server administrator to come and monitor them. No. All right. So the technology that helps us to create virtual computers is called virtualization technology. Okay. Hypervisors interface with the hardware that allows operators to speak. Anyway, before I get to hypervisors, is there anybody who is unclear about virtualization or about anything I've been explaining on this screen or this far? Please don't be shy. Please be honest, and let me reiterate, and I can explain another way you will understand. Is there anything I've said that you do not understand? So everyone is clear. Is that what we are saying?
Yep.
Yeah, I am.
So we can continue.
Yes.
All right. When you buy your computer, which software comes first on the computer?
The OS.
All right. Does everybody agree with that? That your operating system comes first on your computer? Or anybody questions that? The operating system. Okay, so I'm here now to,
I agree with it.
okay. So I've come here to tell us that it is not the OS that first come on your computer. So when you buy a computer, the first thing that comes on the computer is the type 1 hypervisor. It is also called the bare metal hypervisor. This is your computer. It is actually a bare what? Metal. And the first thing that comes on it, most times it comes pre-installed, and that's why we never know that it works or that it is there. It's the silent active guy, type 1 hypervisor. It is on the type 1 hypervisor that you now put your what? Operating system, either Linux or Mac or Windows or Solaris or any operating system. So most time the computer manufacturer are the one that puts type 1 hypervisor. A type 1 hypervisor is a low-level programming language. It's written using low-level programming language. Okay, all those developers that hardly come out, what they do is they bury their head in developing all days of their life. They are the one that write this kind of program. It's very tough. Okay, so it is the one that comes bare on your computer. Are we together?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Good.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
When you turn on your computer and does not have have you ever turned on a computer that doesn't have an operating system before? What,
Yeah.
what does it tell you? Operating
Just
system not discovered.
yeah.
Something like that, yeah. So what do you think is working at that period? Have you ever thought of it? Like, oh, so if
Yeah.
operating system is not discovered, so what is able to interpret to tell me that OS not discovered? Please contact manufacturer or admin. It is your type 1 hypervisor. So this is the first software that comes on your bare metal. It is also called the bare metal what? Hypervisor. All right. So when you turn on your computer, it is your type 1 hypervisor that first does what we call BIOS, basic input output settings. And what it does is it makes your computer to perform the post. All right. Are we together, please?
The basic input,
Yes.
what's up?
Basic input output settings.
Output setting. Then
Yes.
what does post now mean?
Post is your self-test, pre-operation self-test. Okay.
Yeah.
So it is one that goes and check, is the keyboard there? Is the mouse there? Is the motherboard there? Is the CD there? Have you ever turned on computer in those days before, and what you first see is a black screen and you see many things counting? CD RAM, you to count to 100. Disk, in those days of diskettes. Have we ever seen a diskette before?
I have.
Yes,
All
yes.
right. So in those days, yeah, when you turn on your computer, you see it will check for your diskette with some very, very funny sounds coming from your CPU. To check for your diskette, it will check for your CD-ROM if it is there. Anyone that is not there, it tells you. Before it will now ask your operating system to come and run on it. Okay, so your BIOS is the program that does the post test, power on self test. All right. Power on self test post. Okay. And what it does is it checks all your buses on your motherboard or on your CPU where everything is working fine. The mouse, the peripherals of your computer, everything is good before you now calls your operating system to come and run. Okay, so it is the one that tells your type 1 hypervisor is the one that tells your operating system this is the motherboard, this is the RAM, this is the hard drive, this is the mouse, this is the screen. Okay, this is the button that turns on the Wi-Fi or turns it off. This is the button that shuts it down or shuts it on. Does it make sense?
Yeah, I used to call the BIOS. I didn't know it was called the Type 1 hypervisor. I used to call it BIOS.
No, BIOS is a program.
Yeah.
It's not the hypervisor. Okay, the program on the hypervisor is the BIOS. It is this
Okay.
program that performs post. Okay, it is the program that helps you to perform the power on self test. Okay.
Okay. Oh.
So it is now on this operating system that you can now run other applications. Your CorelDRAW, your Zoom, your Microsoft Office suite, your SAP application, your Netflix, any other applications you want to run, including your Type 2 hypervisor. So virtualization technology like Windows subsystem Linux, like Oracle, VirtualBox, they are type 2 hypervisors that will run on your operating system. Okay. So you have type 1 hypervisors, type 2 hypervisors. Type 2 hypervisors are the one we normally call virtualization technology. And we will see that when we get to third month, when we want to use Terraform, and we need to bring in WSL in our IDE. We're going to be using VS Code for IDE. So all these words I'm using, you might want to be writing them down, Google them. But if you read about them, you don't understand them, please feel free to return to class and make me explain. Okay. Although by the time we get to that part properly, I would do a proper explanation. Like now that we're talking about BIOS and posts, if I've used it before and I've not explained, now I'm not explaining them. Okay. I've talked about security groups. I've talked about IDEs. When we get to when we use them, I'll do a proper explanation about them. Okay. So this is going to be 100% hands-on. This class is basically for things like this, introduce us to some of these things. When we hear them, it will not be new to us again. Okay. And if we also follow with the assignments I'll be giving to us, if we are honest enough to do these assignments, it will also help our base knowledge, especially for those that are coming into this space and new. So that's that about virtualization technology, type 1 and type 2 hypervisors. Let's get back to class. What else? Talked about this. Okay, look at type 1 hypervisor. It is on your hardware and it is on it that you have the OS. Look at type 2 hypervisor. it is the one residing on your operating system. Okay. Cloud, we'll talk about cloud when we get into AWS. I think what I will need to know here, that's it. So I'm going to share with us this PowerPoint, this PDF file, so we can read. But then before I do that, I'm going to correct this. Well, I think I've done the correction here. Fedora. Oh, beautiful. This is good. All right. Any other questions before we move on?
Mine is not a question. In the AWS I just set up, it's asking me for root user, IAM user, and then asking me to click next. So I just decided to pause there. So I
Have
should
you?
go with the root user.
Yes, the email that's your root user email. Then the password, and then click on
Yeah.
sign in.
I'm still having problem with the card. I put in one initially, said it's invalid. I mean, something is wrong somewhere with the date. So I tried to put in another card. That was when we started the class. So I had to stop to come to class because this is more important to get
Alright.
right.
Okay, so do you want to try that now?
Let me see.
Okay, I'm on now.
Okay,
Let me see.
because we want to use the next minute to go and create our first Linux virtual server. So I want us to all be on the same page. All right. So for those whose AWS is ready, can you come to your console home? You likely, if it's your first time, you probably not be seeing anything here as recently visited. Okay. So I'll just pause the recording.
Hold on, let me find the right one. All right, can you see it?
Yes, please.
Right there where it says that service me. Because since this is my first time logging in, that's what it showed.
Exactly. It's just giving you tips of what to know. All right.
Gotcha.
So
So
just
I just
click
hit the
on
next
next.
button.
Yeah.
Okay.
Done. All right. Done. Done. You're good to go. Yeah.
Okay.
So just stand by and let's wait for Mr.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you there.
You're welcome. Mr. Adeni, give us
Yeah, I'm still
update.
struggling with the stuff. I don't know what that.
Okay, so you will
Still
take your
returning back.
time.
Can I share?
Okay, go ahead and share your screen.
See, accepted this. Let me see. Hold on, sir. I don't know the card information. Okay, doesn't matter. Let me share.
No, I wouldn't want you to. Okay, hold on.
Just let me just share, sir.
Just all right, thank you. So I know you may want to ask some questions about the AWS platform. Okay, what is this? What services? What's the search? What's the cloud share and all of that? So I would answer all these questions when we get into AWS proper. But this month, what we want to learn is Linux operating system. Okay, so when we get into AWS platform, when we come to AWS platform like this, we're not going sideways or branches. We know where we are going to. We are going to our server, and then we connect to the server backend and we begin to learn. Okay, things I feel we should know at the Linux level is what I will take my time to explain. All right, but every other thing that I know it is for AWS, when we get into AWS next month, I'll take my time to explain. Okay, so you might ask me about something and I will say, okay, that is on AWS. When we get into cloud computing next month, I'm going to answer all of that. All right, so let's just focus solely on learning Linux this month. Okay. All right, so everybody please click on services. Services is the icon after AWS at the top left corner. When you click on services, you should see list of all the AWS services. Then you're coming to compute. Please click on compute. All right. At this point, please unmute yourself and talk to me. Click on compute. If you click on compute, you should see services under compute. AWS, Aprona, Batch,
Sorry,
EC2,
sir. Can
image
you slow
build.
down? I'm seeing your screen in my front. So how do I get to back to
How'd you get to where?
my home screen? I mean, I see what you are projecting, but how do I get to do what you're asking me to do now?
You do it on your system. Have you been able to minimize the zoom? Okay, so for someone, okay. Do you know how to split screen?
No, that's what I'm struggling with here now.
Okay, can you see my screen right now?
That's the one you project, yes.
Yes. Your zoom, does it have something like this? Look at what I'm doing right now. I'm reducing my zoom screen so I can have another Windows. Or if you are using Windows, you're using Windows, right?
Yes.
Right click on your taskbar. You will see show windows side by side.
What's wrong here? Thank God.
Have you seen show windows side by side?
No, sir.
It's okay. Do you want to share your screen?
Okay. This will stop on that screen sharing. Do you want to continue? Should I share my own? Okay. Here it is.
Share all your screen.
Is it not her?
No, you're sharing just your browser.
So
Click on share screen and don't click on any other thing. Just click on the screen.
I already shared. Okay, let me go back, stop, right? Then click on share screen.
You should see screen
Uh-huh.
and then other windows.
Okay, so which one should I click?
Click on the one that says screen
Screen, okay. Yeah,
and click on share.
that's it.
Okay, so you see your menu bar or your task bar where you have is always that bar at the base of your screen.
Okay, this one.
Right click here.
Okay.
Let me see taskbar settings. No, it's not yet. Close this. Close this window. Okay. This is your screen that you are seeing right now, yeah?
Yes.
Do you have a Zoom app? Or you
Yes,
are using the Zoom on your browser?
I have a Zoom app, I guess.
Okay. Look at the top right corner.
Top
You will
right.
see that's a minimize button.
I should click on it.
The one beside it.
This one.
No, towards the right. Click on that.
Okay.
Do you see what happened now?
Yes.
So, where is your taskbar? Can I see? Okay, where's your browser?
It should be up there.
No, this is your Windows. Click on your
This one.
browser. Let me see. On your menu bar, yeah.
This one.
Okay, no, put that up again. Where's your Zoom? Click on the Zoom, the one beside. No, not on your desktop. On your, yeah.
One.
Okay. Okay, so can you click on your another browser entirely? So what I discovered is you're using I'm not sure you're connecting via your Zoom app. Yeah, you're probably using the Zoom on your browser to connect. But it's okay. Open another window for your browser this time around.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to connect to open a browser?
That's the new one.
Exactly. All right, so pardon us, everyone. We're going to be doing this in this
All right,
class alone. Subsequent classes, everybody would have gotten used to all of this. So this is expected in all our first classes. I mean, just open any of the. Why
Any
don't
of
you
the
use your Google Chrome sorry, the other one you're used to?
I
Why
should go.
this? I mean,
That's
why don't
close
you
to
use the
one.
other browser you are using before? Close this. Close this, yeah.
Okay. This is
Uh,
one.
yes, double click on
This one.
anyone, yes.
Okay.
So put it side by side now. Do you know how to put it inside? Okay, let me help you with this. Hold on, sir. I'm requesting for permission so I can remotely access your PC. Can you see my mouse?
Yes.
So I'm going to drag this to this side.
Okay.
Okay. And then I'll make it floor to roof. I'm going to drag this as well to this side. And then I'll make it floor to roof as well. And I'll probably drag this here. Okay. So this is what I mean when I ask you to stack side by side.
Okay.
Okay, so open your AWS here. Hold on. AWS account. Signing into console. All right, you're here.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to stop your sharing now. Is it still showing the two screens?
No, it just came to your Zoom.
So you're not able to see the two screens on your PC right
No,
now. So can you repeat what I just did? Minimize one, stack it side by side. The Zoom screen one side, your browser screen one side. Can you do that?
trying to start from.
If you're able to do that, let me know. If you're not, that means what it means is you will have to wait and watch
And watch others.
video to. You just need to get it. Once you get it this time around, you'll get it once and for all. Yeah. Are you able to stack side by side?
Not yet. I think they're side by side. No.
Okay, so just follow up with the class,
Okay.
and then
Let me see. I have to work on all of that.
all right. So for the rest of us, let's come to our console. Click on services. When you click on services, click on compute. When you click on compute, click on EC2. But before you click on EC2, you might want to make EC2 your you might want to bookmark EC2.
Sorry, I can't see you anymore. Help me first before you go on.
Click on your Zoom browser. You should be able to see my screen.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So when you click on, you might want to bookmark or make it a favorite on your AWS platform. Okay. Is everyone here? Let me know. Mrs. Diana, are you here?
Yes. Yes, I'm here. Oh, this Lindsay.
All right.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. So click on launch instance. We want to create a virtual server now. If you click on launch instance, it will take you to launch instance wizard where we're going to put in our settings. All right. So from launch instance, what name do you want your server to be? So I'm going to call my own Linux server. Okay. What operating system will this server run on? Is it Mac OS or Windows or Amazon Linux or Red Hat? Remember I told us about the different distros of Linux. So we have Amazon Linux. It's also a distro of Linux owned by Amazon. There is Ubuntu, there is Red Hat, there is SUSE, there is Debian. Look at it here, okay? But the one we're going to be using in this class is Amazon Linux. We're still going to use a distro under the Debian package, which is Ubuntu. But for now, let's begin with Amazon Linux. So click on Amazon Linux, scroll down. Where you have AMI, Amazon Machine Image, you will see that you have Amazon Linux 2023, which is a free tier eligible. But this is a new version of Amazon Linux. It's still not stable yet. So drop down this and select Amazon Linux 2. It is also a free tier. Okay, so ensure that you're always using a free tier resource so that you will not be charged at the end of the month. Okay, so this is Amazon Linux 2. Please click on that. All right. If you've done that, let me know, please.
Done from here.
About the rest, let me know if you've done that.
I've done that.
All right, so the instance type, this tells us about the configuration settings of our computer. What's the size of the RAM? What's the size of the hard drive? What's the size of the CPU? There are many instance types here that we're going to explain better when we get into AWS. All of these things we are scrolling past. When we get into AWS, we'll explain properly. But for now, let's just go straight into how we can set up our Linux server and begin to learn. So T2 Micro is the one that has free tier eligible. So let's stick with T2 Micro. T2 Micro is 1 virtual CPU and 1 gig RAM memory. Okay, so click on that. Then key pair login. you can use a key pair to securely connect to your instance. Ensure that you have access to the selected key pair before you launch the instance. Okay, so since it's the first time you are going to be creating an instance, launching an instance rather, you need to create a key pair. I have my own key pair here that I would have used, but since it is your own first time, you need to create a key pair. So what you do is click on create new key pair. Click on create new key pair and put the name. You might want to call it your name.kp or /kp, whatever you want to put. So put a name. I'm going to call my own class KP. Are we together? Hello, class. Are we together?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. So leave everything default, RSA, and then .pem. So I saw Putty on Mr. Arizona's PC. If
Yeah.
all you want to be using is
Hey, were
Putty,
you calling me? All right, come here.
so if all you want to be using is
I'm trying
Putty,
to make class. Come here.
okay, please mute yourself if you're not talking to us. All right. So you might select PPK, but I strongly advise that when you're creating key pair, leave it at .pem. Even if by tomorrow you want to use an SSH agent which uses .ppk, Putty always come with a key pair converter that will convert the .pem.ppk for you. But I've not seen the converter that will convert ppk to .pem. Okay, so always leave it at .pem. Now, so all we did here was just to put the key pair name and then click on create key pair. Just put the key pair name and then click on create key pair. If your key pair creation successful, you should see it download the private key file of the pair. Let me know if your key file is downloaded.
Mine is in my browser.
Is on your browser?
Yeah, as download.
Oh, okay, yeah. Of course, it will download on your local PC. Either inside your download folder or somewhere. All right, so subsequent times when you want to launch an instance, please listen carefully because trainees come back to ask me these things, and out of respect, I just tell them to go and watch class videos, because if they've listened properly during class, they would have captured it. Subsequent times when you want to launch an instance, you would not need to create new key pair again. You just come here, drop down this key pair name, and selected the one that you just created now. Okay, so don't create multiple key pairs. It will confuse you when you need to SSH into your instance. SSH means secure shell, remotely accessing your instance. Secure shell, SSH. You will always need your private key file, the one you downloaded now. So there are situations whereby trainees have about 7 key files and they don't know which one they use for what server. And then when they try to SSH, it fails and they are frustrated. They are bringing that frustration on the trainer, okay? And 9 out of 10 situations like that, I ask them to go and show me their key pairs here. And I realized that they have multiple key pairs, okay? And then they will say, oh, I don't know, I said it in class. So to avoid that pitfall, just one key pair is enough for you at this stage. The only reason why you need another key pair is if you change to another region, You're probably working from North Virginia region now, or which region is showing here? Which
Mine
Mine
is
region
says
is?
showing
mine says
Ohio.
Ohio.
Okay, that means it takes it took you to the region closest to your ISP. Okay, so if you change from Ohio to North Virginia or to any other region where you want to work from, okay, what these regions are, when we get into AWS, I'll explain to you in details, yeah? But the key pair you created now will only work in the region where you are. If you switch to another region, then you might have to create another key pair. Okay, you can use one key pair for as many servers as you have within that region. So again, I say to us, you would not need to create new key pairs when you need to launch an instance again. I hope that is taken. So let's move on. Leave the network settings as it is. When we get into AWS, we'll be explaining things here. Oh, no, we need to create security group. I was talking about firewall the other time. Firewall is what helps you to decide what traffic or which traffic is able to reach your server or which is not able to reach your server, or which of your devices within your network is able to go out on using a particular port or not. Again, just as we did with key pair, we are about to create a security group, which is a firewall around the server we are about to launch. You will not need to be creating multiple security groups. Just create one, and that one should be sufficient for you at this level of learning. When we get into advanced classes, I need to create other security groups. I'll tell us about it, or whoever is training you then will tell you about it. So being the first time we are creating a security group, we're going to click on edit. So please click on edit now. Leave all of these ones as they are. Okay. Security group name. So give it a name. I'll call my own class-SG. Can you see my screen? Are we together? Let me know if you've done that.
Yeah, don't mind.
Okay. So there is only SSH rule allowed on this security group. So what firewall does is it will allow some rules or some ports to pass. It will deny some ports. That's what firewall does. And that's why sometimes when you install a particular application on your computer and is unable to function properly, they tell you to say temporarily disable your firewall. Or at times your antivirus is clashing with your firewall, right? So your firewall is like a security around your network or around your server or around your computer, whichever one is applicable. So for now, we will only allow SSH port, which is port 2020. So this is a typical interview question. That what is the port for SSH 2020? Or they say port 2020 is for what rule? SSH. S means secured shell, SSH. There are other ports here like HTTP, which is on port 80. Look at it here. There is HTTPS, secured HTTP, which is on port 443. There is a RDP, so many other one, MySQL, all of that. But the only rule we need for now is SSH port, which is port 22. Okay, we will bring in other rules as we go on in this class. Just be patient and let's follow the letter. Configure storage. What's the storage size we want for our hard drive or hard disk. 8 gig is enough. Linux is a light operating system, so leave everything as is, okay, and then click on launch instance. Okay. If you click on launch instance, then if you have been following what I've been doing, then you should also have successfully initiated launch of instance. Is that what you have as well?
Yes.
All right. Any challenge? Any
Mine is successful.
challenge?
I think I'm the odd one out here, so I
You
need help.
do. Don't worry, we'll resolve that shortly. Any challenge? Okay, so the next thing you want to do is click on these instances here. If you click on these instances, it should take you to a table where you have all the instances running. Okay, so you should have the one you just created now, Linux server. I have other servers here that I use for DevOps, my workstation, my application, my SonarQube / JFrog servers. Okay, these are for advanced teachings, trainings, and services, but then we'll get to that. These things you see
What did you
in,
say that we should click on the Linux server one? Oh,
no, you will click, are you here?
yes,
Okay, so for those that are here, click on the instance ID of your server.
the link, yeah.
The instance ID, yeah, is a unique ID. Then you should see some metadata. Metadata are informations about your device, like public IP address, IP version 4, the private IP address, the DNS record of that server, okay, all of that. If you are here, please click on connect. If you are here, click on connect. Okay, look at again our public IP address and also look at your EC2, the username is EC2 server. Linux allows multiple user, but when you launch a Linux server for the first time, it will create a default user for you. It's just as when you are configuring your Windows operating system, at some point it will ask you to create a login credential. So if you are here again, just click on connect. If you click on connect, it's taking us to the command line interface of Linux. And that is where our environment will be for the next 8 classes, for the next 4 weeks. Is anybody here?
Yes,
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm here.
I'm here.
How about Mrs. Diana? Are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. So this is where we're going to be doing all of the learnings. Okay. Current working directory. Make directory. Diana. We have Diana, CD. No, CD. Diana. Current working directory. So all of this will begin as from Monday next week. So if you are here, congratulations, we've been able to set up our workstation. Next week, Monday, I'll show us how to configure an SSH agent. either MobileXterm or Temios or PuTTY. My favorite is MobileXterm, but for those using macOS, MobileXterm will not work on macOS. So I'll show us how to download and configure Temios. Temios works on macOS, even on your phone. All right. So that we can SSH into our servers as soon as we have launched it. Why do we need an SSH agent? So that we can have smooth sessions. We are connected to our Linux OS now from a browser. For some of us, we have tens of tabs here, even 20 tabs, okay? And each of those tabs will probably interfere with your main CLI tab. And it might give you an unpleasant experience learning. So what we're going to do is we're going to download Temios, okay? So when we come to class on Monday, the first thing is we download Temios, show you how to configure and set it up, so that when we come to learn or when you're practicing, you use Temios to SSH into your servers. All right. So now that you have created a server and now that we're about to end the class, return to your AWS, click on instances. All right. So I would have said stop the server and start it. Okay. But because we are new to this, I will encourage you to terminate your server outrightly. And when you want to practice, launch another one. Okay, so that repeated effort will help you to get used to these things. You know, this is 100% hands-on training that you have signed up for. It means you have to practice repeatedly. Okay, so how do you terminate your server? Click on the server of interest, check it, okay, and then drop down instance state. If you drop down instance state, you're going to see terminate instance. Just click on that and then terminate the instance. So it has been terminated. You no longer have any instance here. So if you want to practice, let's say we've learned some commands today and you want to practice and you've terminated your instance, all you're going to do is to what? Go and launch a new instance, and that will afford you to learn or to get acquainted to the process of launching instances. So what I'm saying is, but what I said earlier is that now that you have an instance already, if you want to launch a new instance, when you get to the part where it asks you to put key pair, you would not need to create a new key pair. Just drop down and select the existing key pair. When you also get to the part of security group, do not create a new security group. Just drop down and select the existing security group. Okay, don't litter your compute with key pairs and security group. I tell you, you'll be confused if you have too many of them. Okay, and except if you are shy, you will come to class and say, oh, I have a problem, I'm unable to SSH into my instance. And the first place we're going to go check is your key pair to see how many key pairs you have. And then I will tell you I said it. All right, so we've come to the end of class today. The class link is going to change to a permanent one. And I'll be sending us a Google form that will not take you 15 seconds to fill. I just want to collect our name, our phone number, and our email address, preferably Gmail. Okay, so only this class video will be public. Subsequent class videos are going to be private. You will only be able to access them by signing into YouTube with the Gmail that you put in your Google form. Okay, so what you're going to do for me based on the instruction from Engineer King is, please privately send me your payment proof, your proof of payment for the class. Send it to me privately, please, on WhatsApp. Then I will respond with the Google form. Okay. And then after that, I will pick your email from the Google form and send you the onboard message, which will contain the permanent link to this class. In that email, I repeat, we have the permanent Zoom link to the Linux class. Okay. So when we come for our next class and you ask me, where is the link? I will tell you, go to your email and copy it. In our third class, you will ask me again, where is the link? I'll tell you, go to the same place you copied it first time. Or once you receive the email, just bookmark the Zoom link to avoid all these unnecessary questions at the beginning of the class. I would not want to unsettle anybody. Okay, that's why I'm giving us this information ahead. All right, would there be any question except for Mr. Ade?
Yes, except for
Adeniyi
me, I need help. Yes.
to stay back. The rest of us, do you have any questions?
Yeah, quick question. I didn't understand what you said. You said private send you what now?
Say that again, sir.
You said privately send you something. I couldn't understand what you said.
All right, so send me your proof of payment privately.
Okay.
Yes,
And what
on
through WhatsApp?
WhatsApp. Yep.
Oh, okay. What's your name on WhatsApp? I don't.
I'm the one that posted the link to class. So if you click on that number, and you will see options like privately chat up.
Okay.
All right.
Gosh.
So I'm going to respond with the Google form in less than 15 seconds. You can fill the Google form, and then the next thing you receive is the onboarding email. All right. So we've come to the end of class. Thank you very much. If you think there's something I need to improve on, or there's something you want us to add to class, it's going to get interactive more than this, I can assure you. Please do well to put that on our WhatsApp as well. If you don't want to tell Engineer King, you can tell me. If you don't want to tell me, tell Engineer King. He's going to communicate same to me. We just want you to have the best of experience learning with us. And again, it's going to be an intensive training, so please brace for impact, okay? All right, so for those who want to stay, you're allowed to stay, but for those who want to go and have a peaceful night's rest, we'll see you on Monday. Or if you have any question, we'll continue on our WhatsApp group. So I'm just going to stop the recording now because we've ended the class.